Over the weekend, Dave Chappelle pulled up to the African American Film Festival at Martha's Vineyard with something major in his hands: his 2021 documentary, Dave Chappelle in Real Life.
Did you like the movie? Did you like the show? Fuck everything they say on television. Let's bring the culture back together. It's all for the culture.
This wasn't just any project. This film dives deep into the intimate live comedy shows Chappelle put together in his small hometown of Yellow Springs, Ohio, during the wild summer of 2020, right in the thick of the COVID lockdowns.
And niggas always ask me, like, Dave, why you live in that hippie town? And I'd be embarrassed to tell them the truth. But you know why I live there? Because Yellow Springs, Ohio has the most beautiful women in the world. And a lot of people might disagree with me, but you gotta see them for yourself. They're gorgeous. But it all depends on what you're into, you know what I mean? I like white bitches with dirty feet.
While the world was on pause, Chappelle kept the laughter alive, setting up outdoor shows in cornfields and parking lots, bringing his community together when everybody else was stuck at home scrolling through bad news. But here's the thing. The world hasn't seen this documentary yet. Not on Netflix, not on Amazon, not anywhere. Why? Because the moment studios had the chance to release it, they backed off in a heartbeat. And the reason traces back to one very heated moment in his career: his 2021 Netflix special, The Closer. That show shook Hollywood to its core, sparking endless debates about his comedy, his jokes about the LGBTQ+ community and whether or not he had crossed the line. Chappelle's name was suddenly on every headline. Some called him fearless, others labeled him dangerous. The backlash got so real that employees inside Netflix themselves staged a walkout, marching in protest against the decision to air The Closer. Executives who once bragged about giving him full creative freedom were now biting their tongues, trying to dodge the storm that followed. Overnight, Chappelle went from being untouchable comedy royalty to a man Hollywood was treating like radioactive waste. Studios that had been begging to work with him one day were suddenly terrified to be connected to his name the next. His documentary, which captured some of his most raw and unfiltered moments, ended up locked away, collecting dust, all because industry power players were too scared of what the association might cost them. But Chappelle? He doesn't bow to pressure. He flips it on its head. Instead of shelving his work forever, he decided to take matters into his own hands. He packed up his documentary and took it on the road, showing it to fans city by city, festival by festival, all on his own terms. No studio bosses, no Hollywood gatekeepers, just him and the people who actually want to hear his voice. At Martha's Vineyard, when the lights dimmed and that first frame hit the screen, it wasn't just a film, it was a message. Chappelle refuses to be silenced, no matter how toxic mainstream media tries to paint him. And right after the screening, he made a jaw-dropping confession, each one that had the whole festival buzzing. Chappelle revealed that despite all of his legendary status, all of his decades of comedy dominance, and all the millions his work has pulled in, he's been completely snubbed by the very industry that once couldn't get enough of him. Chappelle didn't hold back when he addressed what he sees as Hollywood's cold shoulder. He flat out said he's been snubbed by major award shows, the kind of institutions that used to throw trophies at his feet. According to him, the fallout from The Closer and his other controversial specials didn't just spark protests, it straight up cost him recognition at the Grammys and the Emmys. He told the audience that the reason he's suddenly been iced out is because someone thought it was a good idea to tell trans jokes. That's how blunt he put it. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you actually look at Chappelle's award history, his claim gets a little messy. See, when it comes to the Grammys, Chappelle has been a juggernaut. The man has gone 6 for 6 in the Best Comedy Album category, never losing once. He scored not just one, but 2 separate three-peats, back-to-back-to-back wins that most comedians could only dream of. And guess what? Nearly every one of those specials included the very jokes that got him branded as problematic by critics. If he's supposedly being punished, the Grammys sure didn't get the memo because they've been handing him golden gramophones like candy. The Emmys, though, are a slightly different battlefield. Chappelle has still come out on top there too, taking home 3 wins for 2 separate specials. And yes, those specials also had jokes about the transgender community. But the drama hit a new peak in 2022 when The Closer itself was nominated. All eyes were on whether the TV Academy would actually crown such a lightning rod of controversy. And then the award slipped through his fingers. Who beat him? None other than Adele with her blockbuster music special. Losing to one of the most universally loved singers alive doesn't exactly scream blackballing, but Chappelle insists the system has been quietly closing doors on him. That's why his snub comment leaves people scratching their heads. His shelves are stacked with trophies, yet he's still claiming Hollywood turned its back on him. Is it a case of being overlooked lately? Or is Chappelle trying to make a point about how the industry only tolerates him until the heat gets too high? Either way, his frustration was loud and clear. After dropping that bombshell, Chappelle shifted gears and gave the audience a behind-the-scenes glimpse into those 2020 outdoor shows captured in his documentary. He reminded everyone how risky it really was. COVID was brand new, vaccines weren't even out yet, and nobody knew what was safe. Still, comedians from all over showed up to perform on makeshift stages in fields, barns, and small-town setups, all because he asked them to. Chappelle stressed it wasn't just about jokes, it was about courage. The courage to step into the unknown, to risk their health, their careers, and their reputations just to keep the spirit of comedy alive when the world felt like it was falling apart. Chappelle painted a vivid picture of just how tense those early shows really were. He reminded the audience that back in mid-2020, everyone was still locked away, scared to even breathe near another person. Folks hadn't worked in over 100 nights. Comedians, musicians, stagehands, the whole entertainment world had been shut down like never before. By the time performers started showing up to his little outdoor comedy sanctuary in Yellow Springs, they were rusty, nervous, and as he put it, everyone stunk when they got there. But the magic was in the energy. The moment they hit that stage, the fear melted away. It felt like the early days in the grimy comedy clubs where nobody cared about fame or money, just being around each other, telling jokes and feeding off the crowd. For many, those shows felt like oxygen after months of suffocation. And this wasn't just about laughs. Chappelle had a bigger mission behind that screening. He revealed that his documentary tour is also doubling as a fundraiser for his old stomping grounds, the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C. That's the very school where a teenage Dave spent his days soaking up the craft of performance before sneaking off at night to chase dreams on dingy comedy stages. To him, Ellington wasn't just a school, it was a lifeline, a place that gave him purpose when the world outside seemed determined to paint young black men in nothing but negativity. Chappelle got personal as he spoke about how much Ellington shaped him, crediting the school with giving him the community he needed to believe in himself. Ellington gave me a sense of community, he said, recalling how rare and powerful it felt to be in a space where young black artists were celebrated instead of dismissed. In his words, it was a predominantly black school when I went there. And that was important because everything in the news was so negative. He emphasized that real change starts with spaces like Ellington, places that remind kids they can be creators, leaders, and visionaries, even when society tells them otherwise. But make no mistake, Chappelle didn't let the night end on just a heartwarming note. He circled right back to the controversy, reminding the crowd that despite everything he's accomplished, he still feels Hollywood has blackballed him for daring to tell certain jokes. He framed it as a challenge, questioning whether the so-called gatekeepers of the entertainment world are punishing him not for lack of talent, but for refusing to silence himself when the pressure got heavy. So now the question lingers, is Dave Chappelle really being blackballed? Or is this another case of him pushing back against an industry that can't control him? What do you think about his claim that Hollywood awards have turned their back on him just because he refuses to stop telling trans jokes? So here's the real question. Do you believe Dave Chappelle when he says he's being blackballed by Hollywood's biggest award shows? Is this the truth, or is Chappelle simply pointing out how the game is rigged in the first place? Because let's be honest, when you think about everything this man has done for comedy, the groundbreaking sketches, the legendary specials, the way he kept the art form alive during a global shutdown, shouldn't he have shelves packed with even more trophies by now? Think about it. Chappelle has already swept up Grammys like they were free handouts, and still he's calling foul. So what do you think? Is he secretly being shut out of other honors he deserves? Should he already have more Emmys for his specials? Should the Academy have given him an Oscar nod for his cultural impact? Or maybe even a Kennedy Center honor like some of his peers have gotten? If Hollywood claims to celebrate comedy legends, how could one of the greatest of all time feel overlooked? That's the conversation people are buzzing about right now. So tell me, do you buy his story, or do you think he's reaching? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get into it, because this debate is way bigger than just Dave. It's about how Hollywood handles anybody who refuses to play by their rules. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss a single messy update, because this drama isn't slowing down anytime soon.